Namaskar. The topic of discussion in this module is on coastal landforms. The subject of geomorphology deals with various landforms created by the geological agents. Among the geological agents, waves and currents are very important mechanisms. We are all aware that the oceans have a great impact on the earth, on the global climate, and also on all life which are living nearer to it. Ocean water serves as a reservoir of heat and a potential source for various natural resources. Seas and oceans are constantly sculpturing the edges of the continents and create various landforms. Coastal zones are very sensitive zones. Continental shelves and nearshore waters comprise about 5% of the area of the world. In spite of this, 2/3 of the world's population thrives nearer to the coast. Throughout human history, we have seen people have been attracted towards the coast. It is mainly because of the moderate climates, marine food, commercial and recreational opportunities that are available nearer to the beach. Coastal ecosystems are good habitats for innumerable number of flora and fauna. Coasts are an interface between the lithosphere and the hydrosphere. Time immemorial, beaches are considered to be the best places for tourism, fishing, mariculture, water transport, recreation, sporting, social, political and community interactions. Sunbathing and souvenir collection are the regular activities of tourists along the beaches. These are unique and typical land masses bordered by the seas and oceans. Coasts are not static but dynamic environments involving mass and energy transformations of waves and currents. Shorelines are subjected to both continental and oceanic processes. These are called as geomorphic processes. The geomorphic processes acting on the surface of the earth are of twofold, as exogenous processes and endogenous processes. External processes are subaerial processes acting on the surface of the earth. They draw their energy mostly from the sources above the lithosphere, either in the atmosphere or in the oceans. The behavior of external processes are often predictable. These are mostly influenced by the existing topography, its shape and nature of the surface materials. Waves, tides and currents are very powerful geomorphic agents. The erosional and depositional work of the sea waves can create many spectacular landscapes along the borders of the continents. Studying the coastal landforms are interesting aspects in geomorphology. In this program, the following aspects are highlighted: geomorphology of coasts, waves, tides and currents, coastal geomorphic processes, erosional landforms and depositional landforms of the coastal regions. Let us see the first one, geomorphology of the coast. Every continent or island is bordered by a long or short coastline. Coastline is the line separating the land from the sea. Coastal zones are the transition zones between terrestrial and marine habitat. They form an interface between land and oceanic natural processes also. Coastal areas are varied in their topography, climate and vegetation. Some are sandy beaches, some are rocky shores with or without tidal inlets. The climate of a coast are controlled by the land and sea breezes and the humidity controlled by the marine waters. Waves are powerful tools for constructive and destructive activities. Hence, the geomorphology of a beach, the materials and the processes are always not constant due to the impact of everlasting action of the tides, waves and currents. If we look at the division of a sea coast and a seashore, the shoreline represents the actual landward limit of the seawater. Shoreline is the boundary between land and water. This limit varies with reference to location and time. Along the coast, we could notice a high tide zone and a low tide zone. These two are observable water lines up to which the tides normally swash the coast. It happens every day. The average water level between the high tide and low tide is considered as the mean sea level. Coastal belts are divided into three major divisions as backshore, foreshore and offshore. Backshore represents the beach zone starting from the limit of frequent storm wave above the high tide shoreline. Foreshore extends from high tide water to low tide water. It is the sloping beach face in the zone of swash and backwash. Offshore represents the zone of oceanic shallow water inside the continental shelf. The greatest amount of sediment transport as beach deposit occurs within the shore and near shore zones. Beyond the near shore lies the offshore region. There are 5 major zones identified along the coastal belts. They are the zone of wind action, the limit of wave action, the zone of swash and backwash, the zone of breakers and the zone of shoaling waves. The zone of wind action lies on the landward side and the zone of shoaling waves exists inside the sea. The limit of wave action ends along the regions of berms, which are sediment deposited zones well above the zones of swash and backwash. The following are the characteristic features of a shoreline. Breaker zone is an important zone. It is the area where the incoming waves become unstable, rising to a peak and breaking down. The second one is the surf zone. In the surf zone, the waves of translation occur after the waves break. Longshore currents occur in this zone which run parallel to the coastline. The third one is the swash zone. It is the place where the waves and backwash materials prevail. It is the place where up and down movement of beach materials take place. Berms are the flat backshore areas on the beaches. This is the sunbathing zone with wave deposited sediments. A berm is a bench like feature containing sands carried shoreward by the swash. Landward of the berm is a belt of dunes built by the wind. These are mainly swept up by the berms. There are summer and winter berms. Both are located within the zone of wave action. During the summer, accumulation of sand takes place and it forms the summer berms. The summer berm starts from the zone of swash and backwash. Bars are also created inside the waters along the zone of wave breakers. Moving water shapes excess quantities of detritus into the sorted and layered deposits of the coast. Beach face is yet another one. A beach is defined as a body of cohesionless sediment along a coast that is subjected to the effect of breaking waves. The beach and the near shore meet at the low tide line. Beach is the sloping portion of the coast below the berm. The area is partly exposed by the backwash of the waves. A beach is characterized by its geometric profile and the sediments comprising in it. The parameters of a beach are its geographic setting and profile, the beach face slope, volume of sediments lying within the beach and their environmental conditions. Beaches are classified into high, low and moderate energy beaches based on these characters only. Normally, high energy conditions prevail during summer months in the coast. The wave height increases after the onset of monsoon and produce significant changes in the beach morphology. The following are the features of a coastline. The major features of a coastline are sand dunes, lagoons or tidal inlets and estuaries. Sand dunes of a beach is considered to be the zone of wind action. It may be up to 3 meters in elevation. Dunes are accumulations of wind blown sands. Although some dunes are bare, most of the dunes near the coast are vegetated with coastal plants. Such plants existing in a coastal dune help to stabilize the dune. Dunes are very dynamic geomorphic features. They are subjected to erosion during periods of high waves and accrete during normal wave conditions. During a storm or a large swell, waves attack and erode these dunes. This process is known as scarping process, which releases sand that was stored in the dune into the active beach. The inflow of sand is often carried offshore to build sandbars, which help to attenuate the incoming wave energy also. Lagoons are shallow water bodies of brackish or salt water, partially separated from the neighboring sea by barriers of sand or shingle. The sea water can flow only through narrow openings left by the barriers. They become the coastal ponds or lakes if they are completely detached from the sea. Estuaries are yet another formations. Marine ecosystems also include the salt marshes and wetlands located along the shores and river mouths. Within the coastal zone, several unique habitats like estuaries, tidal inlets and foreshore ecosystems are also included. At the mouth of every old stream or a river, there will be an aquatic condition which includes the habitat of both freshwater and saltwater. These are called as estuarine environments. Estuaries are the coastal areas where the saline waters of the ocean meet with the fresh waters of the streams and rivers. Estuarine habitats are usually very productive because of the accumulation of nutrients from a large catchment of a river. Estuaries offer good fishing grounds as the water column is shallow and approachable. These zones are the breeding habitat for a variety of shrimp and prawn species, oysters and fish. They also provide sheltered harbors for ships and other traffic. Estuarine waters are used for cooling of water in thermal power generation plants. Various kinds of estuaries exist along the coasts of every continent in the world. The second aspect is related to the waves, tides and currents. There are three forces which act along the shorelines. They are the sea waves, the routine tides and the longshore currents. Waves and water movements are interrelated factors on the coastal areas. Waves are undulations in the surface of a water body. Most waves are created when kinetic energy is transformed or transferred to the water by the frictional stress of wind blowing over it. The rise and fall of oscillatory waves in an open water reflects the circular motion of water particles. Swells are smooth, rounded waves that travel outward from a storm center or continuous broad undulations of the ocean surface after the wind dies down. Water in the breaking wave is transported towards the shore as a wave of translation. Sea waves are classified into two types on the basis of depth of the oceanic waters as oscillatory waves and translatory waves. Oscillatory waves are the waves in deep water and translatory waves are the waves in shallow water. From geomorphological point of view, sea waves are classified into constructive waves and destructive waves. Longshore drift are powerful geomorphic agents. They can erode, transport and deposit coastal sediments. As waves break on a beach, they throw water up onto the beach in an area called Schwass zone. Because the waves approach at an angle, the water is thrown up at an angle. However, the water runs back down the beach under the influence of gravity perpendicular to the shore. Thus, the crashing of waves causes water to move along the beach in a step-like fashion in the direction of wave movement. This creates a longshore current. Sand is transported along the beach. This process is called as longshore drift. Longshore drift erodes and deposits sand masses continuously along the beach. The sand that is removed from one point along the beach is replaced by the sand eroded from upcurrent zones. Tides are routine coastal processes. Nearly all marine coastlines experience the rhythmic rise and fall of sea level called as tides. The daily oscillation in ocean level is a product of the gravitational attraction of the moon and sun on Earth's oceans, and it varies in degree throughout the world. Tidal action is an important force behind the coastal erosion and deposition as the shoreline migrates landward and seaward due to these processes. Tidal currents are responsible for the mechanical sorting of sediments under the influence of water. During a high tide, water moves landward as a flood current. During a low tide, water recedes seaward as an ebb current. In addition to this, seismic sea waves called tsunamis are also the forces acting on the land masses. A tsunami originates from the deep oceans and reaches the continents in the form of massive strong waves. These are devastating water waves generated by an undersea earthquakes. The third important aspect is related to the coastal geomorphic processes. Oceans are bodies of dynamic water masses. Vertical and horizontal movements of water continue to happen both at the surface and also at the depth of all the oceans. Over a period of time, wave action in the surf zone will tend to plane off the entire zone. This process is known as marine planation. This is a slow process. There are so many other features formed along the coastline due to the various hydrodynamic actions of waves on the seaside and also the aerodynamic actions of wind on the land side. Wind is a major cause for wave generation. The size of a wave is related to the velocity of wind and the duration of the wind. Sea waves are powerful geological agents acting from the shorelines to the coastal belts. They erode, transport and deposit the marine sediments based on various factors and processes. Erosion, transportation and deposition happens on both sides of the shoreline. Coastal rocks like cliffs are also subjected to wave actions. Sea cliffs are very unique features seen in some places. Let us see the processes of coastal erosion. The combined effect of waves, currents and tides result in a variety of gradational processes acting in the coastal zone. Coastal erosion happens in the form of hydraulic action, abrasion, attrition, solution and water pressure. Hydraulic action is the impact of moving water on the coastal rocks. It is caused by the direct impact of waves on the coast. Enormous pressures can build as water and air are compressed into the rock fractures. The most important one is abrasion. Abrasion is a kind of erosion happening with the help of tools of erosion. The coarse sands present in water suspension, including the pebbles, cobbles and boulders, are used by the waves to attack the coastal rocks. Attrition is a process in which mechanical wear and tear can break away the rock masses into loose fragments or small pieces. Mutual collision affected by backwash and rip currents are powerful tools of coastal erosion. Solution is the chemical alteration of rocks which are soluble due to their contact with the seawater. Solution is locally important, especially where soluble rocks are exposed along the shorelines. Due to periodic wetting and drying, a wide range of chemical processes happen on the coastal rocks which lead to both physical disintegration and chemical decomposition. Alternate freezing and thawing can also make these rocks to be easily attacked by the waves. A good number of coastal features are formed by the action of these sea processes. Coastal sediments are subjected to multiple episodes of erosion, transportation and deposition, though a net seaward transport takes place on a global scale. The deep ocean floor becomes the resting place for the terrestrial sediments eroded from the land. Beach drifting transports sand grains along the beach as waves strikes the shore at an oblique angle. Sediment is carried landward when water rushes across the beach as swash. Sediment is carried back towards the ocean during the backwash. The continual uprush and backwash carries the sand in a zigzag like movement along the shores. Let us see the erosional landforms of the coast. Landforms of the coastal regions are classified into two major groups as erosional landforms and depositional landforms. The notable erosional coastal landforms are sea cliffs, sea caves, sea arches, sea stacks, wave cut notches and wave built terraces. Wave erosion undercuts the steep shorelines and creating the coastal cliffs. A sea cliff is a vertical precipice created by waves crashing directly on a steeply inclined slope. Hydraulic action, abrasion and chemical solution all work together to cut a notch at the high water level near the base of the cliffs. Constant undercutting and erosion causes the cliffs to retreat landward. Sea caves are formed along the lines of weaknesses in the cohesive but well jointed bedrocks. Sea caves are prominent headlands where wave refraction attacks the shores. A sea arch is formed when the sea caves merge from opposite sides of a headland. If the arch collapses, a pillar of rock remains behind as a sea stack. Seaward of the retreating cliffs, wave erosion forms a broad erosional platform called as a wave cut bench or wave cut platform. After the constant grinding and battering, eroded materials are transported to adjacent bays to become beaches or seaward coming to rest as a wave cut terraces. After constant grinding and battering, the eroded materials are transported to the adjacent bays to become beaches or wave built terraces. Let us see the depositional landforms of the coastal zone. The notable depositional coastal landforms are beaches, spits and bars, tombolos, barrier islands and mud flats. A beach is an area of sediment accumulation exposed to wave action along the coast. Beaches have a characteristic morphology that changes from season to season. Beaches are fragile ribbons of sand that are frequently broken by the action of nature and also man. A sand spit is one of the most common coastal landforms. A sand spit is a linear accumulation of sediment that is attached to a land at one end. Sand carried parallel to the shore by the longshore drifts may eventually extend across a bay or between headlands, especially where the water is relatively calm. Spits are typically elongated, narrow features built to several meters high above the sea level by the action of wind and waves. Spits often form when wave energy decreases as a result of wave refraction in a bay. When the wave energy is dissipated, it will cause the sediment to accumulate, and these sediments form these bars and spits. The term bar refers to a long narrow sand embankment formed by the wave action. Littoral drift from an island may form a tombolo, which is a sand bar connecting the island with the mainland. Spits can extend across the mouth of a bay, but the wave action is usually strong enough to wash them out. They may curve into the bay or stretch across the connecting points to the other side and thereby forming a bay mouth bar. When the bay is closed off by a bar, it becomes a lagoon. Coastlines existing parallel to the offshore form narrow strips of sand dunes, salt marshes and beaches, and all of them are forming the barrier islands. Between these islands and the mainland, we can see the features like shallow lagoons, bays and marshes. A variety of barrier related features could be seen along the shoreline. Bay barriers are continuous barrier beaches that close off the entrance to a bay. In the upper reaches of a bay, the bayhead barriers protect lagoon or marshland. Barriers that connect headlands together along the outer reaches of an embayment are called as bay mouth barriers. Barrier spits are beaches that are attached at one end to their source of sediment. Simple spits consist of narrow finger of sand with a single dune ridge that elongates in the down drift direction. Double spits can also be formed if drift transports sand in two directions. These may also be forming some tidal channels. Wave refraction at the end of a spit will transport sand to form a recurved spit. Complex spits form when a plentiful supply of sediment is transported by both the ocean and the bay currents. Multiple lines of dunes can be formed by wind transport of sand across the spits. Capes are barrier islands that project into the open sea to form a right angle shoreline. These are generally large features that are exposed to the wave attack on each side, but one side is accreting while the other side may be eroding. This produces a distinctive series of truncated dune ridges. Mud flats are formed due to the action of tidal currents. They contain clays and sills. They are exposed during low tides and are covered during high tides. In some of the exposed mud flats, after a full retreat of the sea level, plants grow and form salt marshes. There are several other aspects coming under the coastal regions. The classification of coasts, the classification of beaches, and the classification of shorelines are all very vast areas of study. All of them are coming under the subject called coastal geomorphology. It is a very interesting subject to learn. There are hundreds of kinds of landforms existing in several parts of the world. Let us try to understand them in this subject, geomorphology.